Well, what a great game. I mean, those are exciting. Loved the crowd. Want to thank the crowd for being there and for pulling us through. It was awesome to have that many people here on a Friday night, and obviously we needed them down the stretch. I thought that our kids really, really battled. That's something that we haven't had to go through yet this season, of losing a lead and then having to claw our way back and clawing our way back in a really tight situation in the fourth quarter. But I thought that Lamar played really well. I thought that they got hot in the third quarter, and we talked about that if they got warmed up, they would play fearless and really shoot the basketball well, and that's what we saw happen. But I thought we had some big-time plays to counter that and to get us back in it. And obviously these two young ladies provided some really big plays for us, and I thought that Vivian showed a lot of courage down the stretch, particularly in overtime, but absolutely to get us to overtime on her first game back. And I think she, you saw Vivian Gray do some All-American things, right, in this game. So it was really great to get her back out there. But I thought the overall team, I thought Riley hit some really big shots. I thought that that Taylor started us off in the third quarter well with a great attack. We've got to get better defensively, clearly, and we've got to adjust when people make adjustments against us.
Vivian, how's the ankle doing?
It's okay. My X-ray's clear, so doing okay.
Coach just touched upon it. How's it feel to be back?
It feels great to be back. I was definitely a little bit rusty. Clearly missed like 8 right-handed layups, but that's okay. Moving on from that, but it feels great to be back. Be on the court I love this team, so being on the court with this team it's awesome.
Towards the end of regulation, what goes through your mind when you're in a situation like that? Is that just when experience starts to kick in a little bit?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I don't think anything really went through my mind besides play hard and make the right play, make the easy play. I think a lot of times down the stretch when the game gets really tight like that, people try to make the difficult play instead of just making the easy one. So.
Coach, kind of the same thing. Is that just someone that you're going to turn to in a situation like that you trust?
Well, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I think that she's going to make big plays for us all the time, and she's going to draw a lot of attention, and she did at the end of the regulation. I thought, she had 2 defenders on her to begin with, but what I loved about what Vivian did in that moment, which I haven't seen her done in some situations in the past, is she really took her time. Like, she caught the basketball, she squared up, she made a move, like she knew that there was 4 seconds, and that was a long time, and she did a great job of executing. And I think that shows a lot of poise and a lot of confidence in what she's doing and the competitiveness that she has. So it was really awesome to see her do that. And then obviously she hit some big shots in OT as well.
And then, Coach, kind of looking back at the last game with what you talked about in offensive production in the second half, is this just kind of like a repeat of that, where you said, it was an ugly win like that, or?
Yeah, well, it was offensively, it was bad in the third quarter, but defensively is where it really hurt us. Because we weren't capitalizing offensively, we kind of got stagnant on defense as well, and really let them get hot. There's going to be times that we're going to struggle offensively, and again, we're still trying to get used to one another. When we added Vivian back in today too, and that alters your rotations as well and your lineups. And so I think they just have to continue to get to where they can play well with one another.
Coach, you mentioned it already, but with that last play before Vivian forced overtime, I guess what you call, and I guess what was the situation? Because it seemed like Vivian kind of turned into that go-to player where she was calling for the ball.
For sure.
And I guess what was kind of the options there? And obviously,
we wanted to give it to her off of a reb screen so that she could turn and face the basket and maybe have her defense behind her, so that if she couldn't get to the basket, she was definitely going for, to get to the basket, is that she would have Riley in the corner on the backside. But because they switched it and they made it so difficult to throw it in, to get it in, she just turned in post, which I thought was obviously great. And I thought Tatum did a good job of being patient and not turning the basketball over. She had a big girl in front of her and she couldn't see. And she told me, she goes, "Coach, I just trusted you. I couldn't see Vivian." I was like, oh my Lord. But I thought they all executed really well. And I really liked the confidence that they all have in Vivian. Tatum was definitely going to her, and she knew that's who needed the basketball in her hands.
Riley, down the stretch, it seems like you're starting to gain some confidence, taking some shots that really kind of brought y'all back with those threes. I guess from your perspective, do you kind of feel like you're inserting yourself into into the rhythm, so to speak, and how big was it for you to just hit those threes and kind of get the offense going down the stretch?
I give it to my teammates. They were giving me a lot of confidence because I was missing a lot of shots in the first half that I wanted to make. And so it was pretty frustrating, but I mean, I just look at them and they were giving the ball at the right time, and that's just when I needed to knock it down the most. And I think my confidence does grow closer to games that are close. I don't know why, but I really thrive in close games. I really like them, but obviously I want to come out with a win every time. So it was fun. I was excited I was in those positions.
Coach, you alluded to it, but just the three-point defense, obviously that kind of hurt you all today. I guess what were some of the adjustments you tried to make, and I guess what allowed Lamar to kind of get so hot from the three-point line?
Well, they started turning the corner on us, and we weren't doing a great job. They started setting a high ball screen that we were having a hard time defending because we really wanted to keep them on one side of the floor, and because they were setting it right in the middle, it was a little bit difficult, but they were getting downhill on us, and so they were able to find open players. And I will say that a couple of kids hit some shots that don't normally hit shots, so if we were playing the odds a little bit, they showed up, and I think you got to be careful with that sometimes, but that's what good players do. But I did think, when we went to the zone, it helped a little bit just to keep them out of the paint, so they at least had to move it side to side instead of a straight shot down the lane line.
And then lastly, Coach, how fast do you put this game behind you, knowing that it was such a close game, overtime, and then start thinking about Texas State on Monday?
Yeah, we got to move pretty quickly. I mean, we'll look at the film tonight and talk about some things tomorrow. But we've got a lot of games in a short amount of time here that we've got to just learn from it and kind of go by memory, by what we can talk about some things. But we've got to definitely get prepared for Texas State. They're a really good basketball team, and they have some kids that can get downhill as well. But it's probably more about us even still, three games in, and we're still trying to figure each other out. And we've just got to continue to do what we do and work together and, try to stick to our game plan the best as possible and make adjustments down the stretch.
You mentioned it earlier, the crowd down the stretch was just loud. If you can just touch on that for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It's just exciting. I didn't know what to think on a Friday night with playoffs, football playoffs going on, basketball tournaments going on. There's just a lot going on. You just don't know how many people are going to show up for you. But, man, they showed up great tonight. And we really needed them late. And they didn't give up on us either. They continued to be active, and they helped us make that comeback. And it was awesome to hear Raider Power at the end of regulation, to be able to give us some momentum going into the overtime.
Any more questions?
Yeah, for both of you guys, teammates in high school, what was it like to finally play together at the collegiate level?
Awesome.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this for a while. I was really excited about it first game, but clearly I didn't get to do that. So she actually sent me a really sweet text this morning. She's like, "Can't wait to get back on the court with you." So it was great. I think we also play very similarly, so we know how to play together.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I was super excited. Like she said, I texted her this morning because I knew she had been down. It's her last season. Why wouldn't you be upset about not being able to play? And I know Vivian is meant to be in these games with us, and if it wasn't for her being in there tonight, I don't think we would have won the game. She hit really big shots, and I was just like, it felt so good to finally be back out there on the court with her.
All right, more questions? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Do you need this?